Well, it's tension time once more. Qualifying is done. The cars have been mechanically tuned, checked and rechecked from bumper to bumper, and the butterflies begin as the drivers mount up. 20 laps from now, one of these drivers is going to win this, the checkered flag, $6,000 in prize money, and very precious points towards perhaps becoming a national driving champion. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Paulson. For my colleague, Paul Chater, welcome to the 4th Eastern Round in Canada's premier showroom stock racing series. It's the 1989 Players Limited GM Motorsport Series, and this week from Ontario's Shannonville Motorsport Park. Well, after 3 rounds of wheel-to-wheel racing here in the East, we have got a terrific Drivers' Championship battle heating up with perennial rivals Ronnie Fellows and Richard Spernard in a real dogfight. Now, this race is going to be very interesting for a number of reasons. First, the track itself. This 4.03-kilometer Shannonville track is very flat, and with 14 corners to get around, it's very technical, too. So smooth driving really has to be the key here at Shannonville. Now, to give you the real lowdown on this track and how to drive it, we've got 3 of the best. The current championship leader, of course, Ronnie Fellows, with the Sunoco McKenzie Applewood Camaro. We also have from the Acklands team, one of our top 10 drivers, Ian Phillips, and the Texaco Haviland Martel team driver, Brett Goodman, who happens to be a Spernard David driving school instructor.
Okay, down the front straightaway and into 4th gear. Just a little lift and throttle and tight to the curb. Now put flat to the floor, exit, unwind, edge of the curb. Now we're in 4th gear. We're going to brake and go down to 3rd. This is corner 2. A little bit understeer there. Now back on the power. Head towards corner 3. Little touch of the brakes. Turn the wheel on the throttle. Now we can unwind, squeeze the throttle, and away we go to corner 4. Very important corner, leads on to a couple of straights. Brake, early apex to the first one. Now we start getting on the power now, and apex, unwind. Now we're going to shift to 4th gear. Just a little touch of the brakes and turn the wheel, back on the power, all the way to corner 6A.
And this is another wide apex, a late apex, setting up for the 2nd turn and then for turn 7. Power out in 3rd gear again. This is the back section of the course, a very tricky and technical section. 3rd gear for this corner, hit the apex, power out slowly and set it for the next left. We come around here in 3rd, hard on the brakes for the slowest corner on the track and into 2nd gear. This is probably the most important corner for your good terminal speed.
You now have enough time to check your gauges, check your mirrors, check out what the competition is doing, and gauge your progress against them. 1 downshift to 3rd. There it is for corner number 11. Turn in, back in the power. Go, go, go. Exit of corner number 11 can be a little hairy. Into corner number 12 and 13, the S's. Quite quick through here. Favorite passing zone we're coming up to here, corner number 13 on the left-hand side. Tight turn, short burst of throttle, slow the car down and smooth through corner 14 to exit back onto the pit straight. We've just completed 1 lap. There's the checkered flag. Give them a sign, we see it. 1 lap of Shannonville Motorsport Park.
Well, in this year's series, there are 12 drivers that are rookies in 1989. Ken Wilden is leader, in fact, in that battle for the rookie honors. And Ken, it means you've done pretty well then so far this season.
Yeah, we're very happy with what we're doing. Sitting 7th overall right now, and hope to move up even farther.
Now, tell me this year, Kenny, is there much difference between those front-wheel drive Hondas that you had last year and driving the rear-wheel drive in the Players GM Series?
Well, last year, actually, we did a couple of races in there with Camaros and the GM cars, and I always felt very comfortable, and more comfortable than I did in the Hondas, the front-wheel drive cars. I think that I have more control over the rear-wheel drive cars, so I feel a lot more comfortable, and I feel I can do more with the car.
Young Drivers of Canada giving you some nice support this season. And what is this drive against drugs we note on the car?
Yeah, well, the drive against drugs, myself and David White, also from Young Drivers of Canada, we were trying to get the word out there that there's a problem and that people should start doing something about it.
Kenny, what would your hopes be in 1989 in this series?
Well, definitely consistency, I think, is a big thing. If we can get Rookie of the Year, that's our main goal. We seem to be hanging on to that so far. And anything above that, I think we're going to be really pleased with.
Hey, good luck to you, Kenny Weldon.
Thanks very much.
Look out, this young man could be our Rookie of the Year.
You're right, Jim, and this man is getting wet. It's Richard Spinard getting as cool as possible on this very hot day, and he's not the only one. The extreme heat could be a factor today. It'll be hard on the drivers and on the tires. Jim?
Well, now the cars are heading for the grid. Our top qualifiers, Richard Spinard has got the pole position. Randy McDonald right beside him in that row. Of course, they'll be sitting back in the third row with our inverted grid. You'll find Robin Buck qualified third, then Ronnie Fellows. Rob Fellows fifth, David Empringham is sixth. Now, remember again, in this series, our top 6 are reversed. The pole sitter, 6th fastest, very quick people are sitting behind him, just ready to leap on that first mistake that he may make. It's quite a script. We'll be back and see how it all comes out when we return to Shannonville and the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series right after this.
Welcome back to Shannonville and Players Limited GM Motorsport excitement. Final preparations are being made on the grid, and we'll soon be going racing. Once again, here's how our grid stacks up. The temperature is threatening to blow the top off the thermometer, but this large crowd has found its own ways to stay cool. And now things are heating up in more ways than one, as this 31-car field heads out on the pace lap. The drivers will be thinking strategy. And here's what our top qualifiers had to say about that earlier today.
Strategy is to try and get out in front. Hopefully they'll be jostling behind me, and I'll just walk away. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, yeah.
With less than 0.3 of a second separating the top 6 guys, I think the strategy will be to survive the first few laps and then take it from there. 20 laps is a long time, and around this track, it's a hot day. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. I'm not used to having only a couple cars in front of me. It's going to be a real difficult race on tires. So I'm going to try and drive as smoothly and as quick as I can for 20 laps without abusing tires and everything else, because it's so hot here that it's going to be a big factor.
We led most of the last race here, and we ran into a small problem at the end, but you know, we're looking forward to duplicating that sort of performance and hopefully winning.
20 laps, long race. Don't want to get too anxious. Just be real cautious and stay on the racetrack and go for the win when it's all done.
It's going to be a long race. It's going to be hard, and the traffic's going to be very heavy in front because all the guys in front are very, very good. So, you know, you have to go for it. At the same time, you don't want to risk too much, and you want to make sure that your car is in good shape at the end of the race.
The cars are coming out of the final turn toward the start-finish line. The starter is looking for good order. He's got it. There's the green, and away we go. Number 2, David Empringham in the lead, followed by number 44, Rob Fellows. Ron Fellows, his brother, number 43, right behind. Robin Buck, number 34, and Richard Spinard, number 1, and a host of others. It's rush hour madness as they head into turn 2. David Empringham is the only driver not caught in a large pack scrapping for position. He should be able to make up some ground on the Fellows brothers who are right behind him. Inside Mark Schill's car, craziness going on in this corner. Number 5, Randy McDonald, sideways in front of Schill, almost knocks him. Schill still has time to adjust his mirror. That's being cool under fire. David Empringham is out front. The Fellows brothers sitting in 2nd and 3rd behind him. In 4th spot is Robin Buck, and right behind Robin Buck is Dr. Mark Dankos, who's holding off Richard Spinard, who's in the unusual position of being in 6th place on his home track. Inside now with Ron Fellows in car number 43 as he tries to chase down the leader, David Empringham, in car number 2. Through the right-hander, heading now onto the back straightaway. The cars should be able to do some drafting down here if they're close enough. It's up to Fellows to gain some ground on Empringham and try to pass him under braking going into the last turn at the end of the straight. And back at the hairpin, the traffic is still very thick. This bottleneck will slow up the field considerably and open a gap for the top runners. There's the leader, number 2, David Empringham. Through corner number 11, Brett Goodman says the exit can be hairy, but Empringham's opened up into the S's. He's starting to pull away from Fellows, running in 2nd, and the other Fellows in 3rd spot. There's Robin Buck back there in 4th. Now through the last corner to complete the first lap of this race here at Shannonville, down the front straightaway, the leader is David Empringham. In 2nd place is Ron Fellows in car 43. His brother, Rob Fellows, behind him. Then Robin Buck. Richard Spinard has picked up a spot. He's now in 5th place ahead of Mark Dankos. Look at these cars after one lap. There are 20 of them still running nose to tail. That's what makes the Players Limited GM Series so exciting. These cars are evenly matched and it comes down to just driver talent. We've got a car on fire between turns 1 and 2. It's number 10, Claude Poirier. Let's go to Jim Paulson.
You know, we had thought, Paul, that fire was just beginning here around the start-finish line area. I'm down here with Marty Shannonville of GM, looking on very worriedly at this point. But these cars have got an immaculate safety record. The problem, I think, has to have happened earlier when Poirier kind of bumped with Boyle and maybe ripped off the oil pan here. But he tries to continue around the track. No, he'll pull it off. The yellows are waving, of course, to get the rest of the field by safely. Claude Poirier does not waste a second here. He cranks the door open. He is out of the car. And here come the officials. They're on the scene, safety crews snuffing out these flames. While they clean up that debris, we'll get back to Paul and more race activity after these messages.
Welcome back to Hot Players Limited GM Motorsport action from Shannonville Raceway. Well, the weather's hot, and at least one of our drivers, Claude Poirier, got very hot when his car caught fire. But he's okay, and we've got a hot battle out front, where Ron Fellows, number 43, has moved into second place, right on number 2, David Empringham's tail. So now our leaders are David Empringham, Ron Fellows, and in third, Rob Fellows, followed by Robin Buck, number 34, and Richard Spinard in car number 1. Ron Fellows is right on Empringham's back bumper. As an instructor here, David may have better current knowledge of this track, but as a past instructor and a very experienced racer, Ron may have the psychological edge on the younger Empringham, who's driving in only his second season. On board with 1989 rookie leader Kenny Wilden as he seeks to improve his current 16th position. In all the bumping and traffic, Kenny dropped from 10th on the grid and is now fighting his way up from 20th. Tough luck for a terrific rookie. Back with our leaders, David Empringham out front and on board now with Ron Fellows. As we head into the hairpin, Empringham loses the rear end a little bit, gets a slide and a bump from Ron Fellows. There's contact. Fellows dropping down on the inside, trying to use his extra speed that he's gained through that corner to pass Empringham down the back straightaway. They're side by side, but Fellows has the advantage and the superior speed, and he moves right by. And his brother, Rob, is going to try to do the same, under braking through the corner. They bump, and he sends David Empringham off into the dirt. An off-road excursion for Empringham, and the Fellows brothers now running in first and third. Ron leading the way in car number 43. Robin Buck took advantage of that situation as well through corner 11, and he's now moved into second place. He's got Rob Fellows behind him and Richard Spinard running in fourth spot. Robin Buck has brought his Pringles Firebird very close to the winner's circle on a couple of occasions this year. Maybe he'll be hot on this very hot day as well. I imagine the drivers are beginning to be sapped by this heat. It'll be very draining on them, hard to keep full concentration throughout the event. So far, it's been no problem for Ron Fellows in this car number 43, though, as he continues to dominate, as he has so often already this season. For the 1988 champion, Richard Spinard, this has been a disappointing season so far. He's running in fourth now. After beginning well with a win at Motorsport, mechanical problems and just plain bad luck have kept him off the podium. But he's still in the championship hunt, and you can never count the wily veteran out. And this, of course, is his home track. He's a big crowd favorite here, as are many of these very competitive drivers. Once more back at the hairpin, Rob Fellows attempts to outbrake Robin Buck. He moves alongside as Ron Fellows leads his brother and Buck side by side down the long straight. This is the fastest part of the track. The drivers are flat out pulling 5,000 revs in fourth gear, hitting about 180 kilometers an hour. And Robin Buck trying to hold off Rob Fellows through the corner. He's left his braking a little late. He's in a big slide, and he's off the road. Robin Buck way off the road, barely lifting off the throttle. What a great recovery. He's managed to get back on the track in third place. He's only lost one position. Wonderful recovery. Now it's Fellows, Buck, and Spinard delivering the kind of action we've come to expect from this series. There's Robin Buck trying the outside around Rob Fellows through the last corner onto the front straightaway, but he just doesn't have the room to do it. Down the front straight, Buck maintains the pressure, his Pringles machine separating the front-running Sunoco team from the Spinard-led Motomaster contingent. Through corner 1, Robin Buck hanging on to Rob Fellows now, under braking going into corner 2. There's teamwork, the two Motomaster cars both putting a wheel off in exactly the same place on the track. Through corner 3, it's Ron Fellows with brother Rob feeling distinct pressure from Robin Buck at this point. On board now with David Empringham, a fifth-place view of the action as Buck passes Fellows for second place. Earlier today, Richard Spinard received the Sunoco Gold Fast Qualifier Award.
Richard, I'd like to congratulate you. Ron certainly wanted to keep this award, very much a Sunoco Gold Team award all season long. You're one of the best, and I'm pleased that you came up top today.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ron did a good job so far, but I was hoping to take over once, and I'm happy to do it in Shannonville.
Now it's Rob and Buck, the meat and the sandwich between leader Ron Fellows and third place Rob Fellows. Coming up the back straight once more. We've had a lot of activity on this part of the track already today. Ron Fellows leads the way as Robin Buck moves on line once again very fast through the corner and way off the road. He's acting a bit like a rally driver this afternoon as Rob Fellows again holds the road to slide into second place. And Buck again gets it back together in time to grab third. And why not? He's had enough practice already today. Robin Buck is certainly no quitter as he moves right back into the hunt. So now as another lap clicks away and heat-induced tire problems and driver fatigue begin to play an even bigger role, it's Ron Fellows in first, Rob Fellows second, Robin Buck third, Richard Spinard fourth, David Empringham fifth, Doug Beatty Jr. in sixth, John Cadman Jr. in seventh. We'll be back with more Players Limited GM Motorsport action right after this. Welcome back to a sizzling day of Players Limited GM Motorsport Series racing at Ontario's Shannonville Motorsport Park. Ron Fellows, number 43, remains our leader, followed by brother Rob Fellows, number 44, in second spot. Robin Buck, number 34, in third. Richard Spinard, number 1, in fourth. And David Empringham, number 2, in fifth place. So far today, Ron Fellows has driven exactly as he said he would, smoothly and quickly. He makes it look easy, and believe me, it's far from that. Catherine Teasdale in the number 3 Woodbridge Group Firebird has also driven well today, and there's the yellow. Doug Beatty Jr. is in the infield, and as he moves back onto the track, Cat Teasdale moves on by. That puts our only women's series driver 9th overall, as she has motored strongly from a 19th grid position. Cat has put a lot of practice laps on this track, and it's paying off today. On the back straight with the leaders, Fellows, Buck, and this time Buck negotiates corner number 11 in fine style. He gets through not too quickly, makes a big difference when there's no immediate pressure on your back bumper. But Rob Fellows in car number 44 is handling Buck's pressure extremely well. He's looking very smooth through the S's, with Robin Buck filling his rearview mirror. And as he heads out onto the front straight, about 2 seconds behind his brother, who is leading this event. And as our 4th and 5th place drivers cross the start-finish line, we see a yellow out on the course. We've got a spin and 2 cars wrong way around. Cat Teasdale negotiates the obstacle course, and Doug Beatty Jr. controls it to slide on by. Our off-trackers are John Cadman Jr. and Randy McDonald, so that'll move number 55, Tom Clark's Colonial IROC, into 6th overall and put Cat Teasdale 7th ahead of Doug Beatty Jr. As Ron Fellows motors on in first, another competitor has found too much heat out there. Number 57, Paul Lawler, a 45-year-old series rookie, has parked it. And an interesting note about Lawler, just 16 months ago, he underwent heart bypass surgery. Again now with our leaders on the back straightaway. Only a few laps to go. Ron Fellows leads the way ahead of brother Rob in his Camaro and the Firebird of 3rd place, Robin Buck, heading into very difficult turn 11. And now in 5th, David Empringham finds Tom Clark on his tail, and Cat Teasdale holds 7th ahead of Doug Beatty Jr.'s Esso Protec Camaro. Now let's go down to Jim at trackside as our leaders edge closer to the checkered flag.
Well, we watch Ronnie Fellows still leading Rob Fellows as they come around this final corner into the front straight, heading into the last lap. Still Robin Buck holding on to 3rd overall. And we have a pace car out on the track to take care of one of our drivers who, in fact, have stopped because of heat prostration.
And I'm surprised it hasn't happened more often today. But the extreme heat is certainly not affecting our leaders. Jim?
So leaders are by, rest of the field coming through this last corner into the front straight. They got the last lap signal. We are ready for the big finale at Shannonville. Back to Paul Chater.
Thank you, Jim, and it looks like this finale will be another Fellows-produced spectacle. Once again, as they did last race in Montreal, the Fellows brothers are running 1 and 2, with big brother Ron leading the way. You are very likely looking at the next generation of Canadian international racing stars right here. Ron Fellows, Rob Fellows, and Robin Buck and many others in this series. On board now with our leader, you can see that Ron has a bit of a fight on his hands late in the race on a hot and slippery track, keeping control. But Ron never seems to get excited or lose his composure, and you can bet your house he won't make a wrong move now. Now approaching the back straightaway through the S's, less than half a lap separates Ron Fellows from victory, as brother Rob in his Camaro and Robin Buck in the red Firebird follow closely in his wake. Through the hairpin and down the back straightaway for the last time. In fifth spot, David Empringham smokes his tires as he holds off a determined Tom Clark, and Doug Beatty Jr. takes advantage of a Cat Teasdale mistake to drop inside. Here's Rob Fellows in second place, as Doug Beatty Jr. now in seventh, dropping Teasdale to eighth. Now to Jim for the finish.
Well, here they come around that final corner. It's Ron Fellows, Rob Fellows, Robin Buck. They're out of it into the straight, and a checkered flag. Ron Fellows with a beautiful victory at Shannonville today. He took it all.
But it's not over for many of the drivers. With Kenny Wilden here in car number 25, he's in 12th spot. Oh, and he slams into the wall on the last corner, moving very slowly onto the infield, parking the car on the grass. I hope he hasn't hurt himself. He hasn't done too much damage to the left side of that car. Meantime, here's what is fast becoming a familiar sight at Players Limited GM Motorsport Series races. The Sunoco Gold team of Ron and Rob Fellows in tandem on a victory lap. It's been another terrific day for the Fellows boys, and especially Ron. The crowd shows its approval as Ron Fellows gets his crew aboard and grabs firmly to the symbol of victory, the checkered flag, and it's off for a final glorious circuit. Meanwhile, at Kenny Wilden's car, though, they're calling for medical aid. Kenny knocked his head when he hit the wall, so they're taking no chances, but I'm sure he'll be okay, although he probably is not delighted with his 12th place finish today. But for Cat Teasdale, a fine day.
I went with Doug Beatty Jr. He was very good with me. He let me have my run with it. I screwed up, I think, corner 11. Yep. And he got by me, and we ended up tangling a bit going around the hairpin because I didn't give enough room. But it was fine. You know, no problems at all. We gave each other thumbs up.
A heated, heavy run today, but Ron, you led it beautifully at Shannonville. You got it again.
Oh, that was hard work, let me tell you. Ooh, David was doing a real good job, and I got a little bit more. He braked a little too late down at the hairpin, and we just touched, and I was able to get momentum down the back straight and got it by him. I still haven't figured out why we weren't fastest in qualifying, but we'll take the win. This is what all the money is, but I like being the fastest guy, too.
Well done, Ron. We'll see you in the winner's platform.
Thank you.
You betcha.
There you go, Ronnie.
Woo. A fine win for a fine driver. Here's Jim.
And here's the man, the champion again at Shannonville. Would you welcome back Mr. Ron Fellows to our winner's podium. Ronnie.
Congratulations, excellent race. Thank you.
And to the delight of the crowds, the drivers take that traditional champagne bath, refreshing on a day like this. Here are the point standings after 4 events in the East. Now down to Jim.
So the quiet settles here at Shannonville, and that is it. The Fellows dominating in the East. What's going on in the western part of Canada as far as the Players Limited GM Motorsport Series? We're going to find out next week on the Oval in Calgary. Do join us.